Boil Them Cabbage Down. This is a classic folk song. It's a lot of kind of fiddle players and sometimes mandolin players' first song. It's a good one to learn because it is very simple, simple melody, simple chord changes. So it's great for beginners and it's great for beginner jammers as well. My big advice, whether we're jumping into the melody, backup, Scruggs arrangement, melodic, what have you, is listen. Make listening a part of your practice. I'm sure if you've been around Tunefox much, you have heard me say this a lot. It is important, right? We want to develop our ears. And listening, repetitive listening is kind of the way to do that, and focused listening as well. So we want to listen using the Tunefox player, right? And we also want to be making some playlists and listening to some recordings of versions of this tunes by, popular and well-known artists within the bluegrass and old-time world. And just how we want to practice at a speed that we can handle. We want to listen at a speed that we can kind of understand. So sometimes when listening as practice, it's good to listen very slow. Use that orange tempo slider, right, to adjust the tempo and listen at a speed where you can understand what's going on, right? If we're listening at really fast speeds, sometimes the notes are just going to blow by us. We're not going to know what's happening. But if we listen a little bit slower, it'll be a little bit easier to latch on to the notes and hear what's going on. Now, that being said, we can develop our ability to kind of hear faster, just as we can develop our ability to play faster. That again comes with repetitions. So just make listening a part of your practice. I'd suggest listening at least 1 to 2 times before playing the tune, and also just looking and reading through the tablature before you play. As usual, I'm going to suggest that you start with the melody. It's a great place for beginners, right? Because it's a lot more simple. We don't have a lot of rolls or anything complex with our fretting hand. But also, no matter what level you are, I think it's important that you know the basic melody to a tune. And when you jump into the melody, try to learn a verse of this song. Memorizing the words and how it connects with the melody can help us memorize the tune, and that will carry over to when we're playing a Scruggs style or melodic version of this tune. Also, try to memorize those chord changes. We want to see how the melody connects to the chord changes, and we just want to know the chord changes in general for our backup playing, especially if we're planning on playing with others. After getting a hang of that and trying some licks, learning the rolling backup and vamping is super important, especially if you plan on playing with other people. Again, try out some licks to learn maybe a little bit more advanced backup vocabulary and add that in with your basic arrangement once you get a kind of understanding of the tune and you're able to play well in time. All right, so we also have some different lead options for you here. We've got a Scruggs version, we've got a melodic version, and a single string version. These are all cool and all great different techniques and ways to kind of interpret a melody or play a lead on the banjo. And one cool thing we have here is all of the licks that are within these different arrangements are kind of all the same, right? So if you learn the Scruggs arrangement, whenever you go and learn the single string and look in the licks, you'll notice that the Scruggs licks that you can kind of sub into the single string arrangement are borrowed from the main Scruggs arrangement, right? And so this is a cool way to teach you guys how to be able to blend different picking styles within the same song, right? So there's going to be some great melodic variations using these different picking styles and just some general good lick vocabulary based on these different picking techniques that you can use in Boil Them Cabbage Down. The Scruggs style arrangement is nice and basic. We're mainly just using the forward roll, right? And we want to try to highlight and maybe even accent those melody notes. But to know what the melody notes are, you need to learn the melody. So make sure that you do that. The melodic arrangement is really based around the simple G melodic scale. So definitely get familiar with that if you haven't already. If you are, you're going to be in good shape and this thing shouldn't be too tough for you. Again, maybe accenting and highlighting those melody notes will be good, but you need to know the melody first. The single string arrangement of Boil Them Cabbage Down is nice. So we have some basic single string technique, and we're going to be using the bum ditty rhythm pattern, right, to keep the whole thing driving and moving. All right, we got a lot to choose from, a lot to learn within each of these arrangements. You guys dig in and have fun.